That is why my budget is way over on shopping this month, which I'm kind of like terrified to show you. I spent $190 on yoga. So now revealing my total spending budget every month. Hi everyone, and welcome back to another video. So today I'm really excited because we're gonna talk about money. I honestly have refrained from talking about money in general in my life for so many years because I thought it was taboo, and I thought I was honestly kind of ashamed of my finances. But this year I really started to take my money and my finances seriously, and I've implemented some good budgeting methods that have gotten me to a more stable financial situation. Also, if my voice sounds a little bit raspy, is because I was just sick for the past couple days. Feeling a lot better today, thankfully. But you know what? I kind of like a raspy voice. I don't know. I don't even feel that weird saying that because I've heard a lot of people say that they like when they're kind of sick and their voice is raspy. Anyway, so today I wanted to share with you guys my monthly budget breakdown, basically how I spend my $100,000 salary, how I break it down in all different categories, and my total spending budget. And then I'll share with you my savings budget and what it goes to at the moment. And then towards the end of the video, I will take you through what I have spent thus far this month. It's actually exactly mid-August. It's August 15th when I'm filming this video. And you'll see that I'm almost over budget already, and it's only halfway through the month, but I'll explain why, and I'll also explain how I manage those things when they happen. Also, before I get into it, if you like these types of videos and want to see more, I encourage you to subscribe to my channel and give this video a like. It tremendously helps with growing my channel, so really appreciate you for doing that. But without further ado, let's just get started and get into my monthly budget breakdown. I have my laptop with me here. I also have some tea because I feel like we're gonna be here for a minute. I just pulled my monthly budget breakdown, which I'll share with you on the screen here. Also, before I get into the actual breakdown, I want to give you a little bit more context on a couple of things. So as I mentioned, I make $100,000 a year. That is my only source of income at the moment. I also share an apartment with my boyfriend, and we also have a roommate, and also generally splitting things down the middle when it comes to groceries, utilities, etc. Like being in a couple does help with those things too a little bit. But anyway, let's get into it. So as you can see, my total monthly income is $5,780. That is what I take home after taxes. I do get paid bi-weekly, but that is monthly my total income. So my first and biggest expense every month is my rent, which comes out to $1,200. So me and my boyfriend share 2 bedrooms. We have one that we use as a home office and the other one that is a really tiny little bedroom, but we just use it to sleep. So we split the cost of these 2 rooms down the middle. My share of it is $1,200. We also live in Brooklyn for more context. I know that is fairly low in rent for living in New York City, and I'm very grateful that I can save on rent at the moment. I also add the due dates here just because I like to know when those bills are gonna actually hit my bank account. In terms of the utilities, they usually come about $100 a month. That's including internet, electricity, and gas, which is like literally almost nothing, and it varies. Sometimes it's a little bit over that, but sometimes it's under, so that's why I put $100 approximately on average. I have my Spotify that costs me, also just FYI, anything that's like 99 I like round it up because I like to have cleaner like rounded numbers. So Spotify is $12. My phone plan is quite expensive just because I'm paying off my phone. I got the iPhone 15 earlier this year because my phone got stolen. It was a whole story. But the $130 include the payment plan for my phone and my actual phone plan. I also pay for Amazon Prime for all the stuff that I order on Amazon. At least I'm not paying any delivery fees on that. I also have my Apple bill, which I believe is just my iCloud storage. I pay for Netflix. I recently downgraded to the version with the ads just because I think it's like almost an $8 difference. It goes from like $16 to $8, I believe, or $15 to $8. So definitely definitely saving money on that just because I don't really mind the ads. I do mind paying $8 more every month. I also pay for Hulu, which is also $8, also paying for the version with the ads. And then I have a $30 budget for Natural Cycles, which is my contraception app that costs $15 a month. And what I'm adding right now that I forgot to add is health. So I rounded it up to $30 just in case in that month I need to buy, medicine. I don't really buy medicine that much even now. I don't use medicine. I think it's a European thing, but I like to have a little bit of buffer in case I need to buy some Advil or something. I had to switch my batteries because I ran out of battery. Let me take a little sip of tea. I was saying I have really good health insurance that is paid for by my job. So that usually medical stuff doesn't cost me anything. I barely have any co-pays ever. So I don't really account any budget for that. And even if I did, you'll see that I have a little bit of a miscellaneous budget. One thing that I forgot to mention also is that I do have this type of expenses. So I'm going through my fixed expenses right now, and then I'll show you the more variable expenses. My last fixed expense, and you might be surprised by this because it is pretty high, but I do spend $190 every month on a yoga studio membership. I've been this year specifically really trying to invest more in my health and well-being. And since I don't spend as much on other things anymore, like going out, drinking, things like that, I do think it makes sense for me to spend more on things like that. And I feel like when you're aware of where your money goes and your overall budget and your overall expenses, it kind of makes it easier for you to actually be able to splurge on things that matter to you. It's all about being intentional. I feel like money is like anything else, and being intentional is very important with money and with anything that you do in life. So I spend $190 on yoga every month. Moving into the variable expenses. So my dog Ziggy eats, breaking news, I do feed him a raw food diet. So I have all of his food measured out. I always get it from the same butcher that has pretty cheap meat, so that's very convenient. And it comes out to about $120 every month. Sometimes it's cheaper. It's never more than that. In terms of what I call shopping, I don't really shop a lot when it comes to clothing, or I can't even think of anything else, but it's more in my budget for, ordering things on Amazon. And that's a pretty high budget. I don't always spend $300 on shopping, but for example, this month, you'll see that I'm over later in the video. It's just a good budget because every month you might need to buy random things. So that's what it's for. Next thing is my Target budget. So I have a Target budget of $100 a month. It's not just because I love going to Target and spend a bunch of money, but it's also because I do buy things specifically from Target that I need every month, mostly household items, cleaning supplies, bathroom supplies, personal care items, and it always comes out to about $100. I try to keep it under $100. Also, sometimes I'll just get nice little things for myself. I may or may not have bought some fall candles, even though it's August. The last time I went to Target last week, I won't disclose that information. Moving on to our eating out and drinks budget. It might seem pretty low to you if you live in New York City. I just have made a conscious decision this year to not spend as much on eating out and drinking out. In the past, it was one of my biggest spending category, but my lifestyle has changed a little bit this year. I cook at home a lot, and it's just also healthier. I know what I'm putting into it, and it's definitely much cheaper, but it's still nice to go out once in a while. I have my favorite spots that I know are pretty cheap and really good. It's all about what's worth it to me. Groceries are very important since I cook at home so much. So I spend about $300. Again, me and my boyfriend split groceries. We spend about $150 every month. We spend about $150 every week. We always go to Trader Joe's and we get honestly 95% of our stuff from there, and that comes out to $600 every month. I have a $30 subway budget. I don't really travel that much. We sometimes go to Manhattan and like go explore and do things on the weekend, but during the week I mostly stay in my neighborhood. I work from home, so I don't have to go into the office, and I do a lot of things more locally, so $30 for subway rides is enough every month. I have a budget of $30 for Ubers, Lyfts, or Revels. Recently started using Revel because it's much cheaper if you're looking for cheaper car service. Sometimes exceed that, sometimes don't use it at all. It's just good to have, you know, there's always cases where you might need to take an Uber. And then also a budget that you might think is pretty high is my coffee budget. And I'll explain this a little bit more. Like I said, I work from home, I work remotely, and as much as I like working from my home office, I really feel the need to get out of the apartment on most days, at least in the mornings, and you might have seen that if you've seen some of my previous vlogs. I really enjoy going to coffee shops, spending a few hours working there in the morning. Usually when I get a coffee, it's about $4 to $5. Sometimes I'll get 2, I really try not to. But overall, I keep my budget under $110. That's how I've budgeted it based on the number of days that I find myself going to a coffee shop. And honestly, if you ask me, like literally no one asked me, but if you did, I think that it's worth it. Like spending $4 or $5 on a coffee. Also, one tip, and I also said that in a previous vlog, don't get the crazy like lavender something honey latte. That's the coffee that's going to cost you $9. I keep it simple. Cold brew, drip coffee, it does the job. Like, you know, you get that caffeine boost. That's all you need. You don't need the crazy stuff. My last category is miscellaneous. I don't know why I always love that word, miscellaneous. Maybe it's because I'm not a native English speaker. I just think it's a really funny word. Miscellaneous budget is $112. I'm not gonna lie, I made that up. Well, no, it was $100. I added 12 because you'll see my total spending budget. I just wanted it to be round. So now revealing my total spending budget every month is $3,000. That's about 52% of my income. It's pretty low in my opinion. I really try to keep it to that. Now, and I'll give you a little bit more context on what I do with the rest of my money and what I save. Obviously, it's not that difficult to do the math. Leaves me with $2,780. I have a hard saving goal of $2,000 every month. And that basically gives me a buffer of $780. The goal is for me to obviously save that too, because I have a $3,000 spending budget. So the goal is really to save $2,780 every month. But sometimes life happens, you have more expenses. I need to have that buffer to make sure that I hit my savings goal every month. So to me, it's just easier to be a little bit more realistic and to know that some things are gonna happen on some month. It's good to have this like initial budget goal to keep things in check. Now, I'm gonna tell you what I'm currently doing with the money that I do not spend. So I am currently working tirelessly on going debt-free, which if everything goes according to plan will happen by the end of the year. Currently, I am actually putting all of the money that I do not spend towards paying off debts. My priority is paying off high interest debts. You know, if you have any, you know, it's a nightmare. And then once that's done, obviously I'll start building up my sinking funds again, and I will also start investing a portion of my money. So now let's get into what I spent in August, which I'm kind of like terrified to show you because there's definitely been excess. When you look at my Google Sheets for my budget every month and how I keep track of it, I obviously have the same budget that I just showed you, but then I add what I spent and what's remaining so I could check, the balance and how I'm doing on everything. Once I'm done taking you through everything, I will show you my total expenses this month and how much I have left, my cash balance. I usually set some goals for each month, financial goals. This month, as I mentioned, it's been my goal for a few months now, is to put as much money towards my credit cards as possible. I also want to keep spending low on dining and drinking out. And then I've also been meaning to put some money aside for a trip to Paris that I'm planning in September. I'm originally from France, so I do travel back quite a lot to go see my family. So as expected, I spent $1,200 on rent. That's the same every month. On utilities, we went way over, and I actually am realizing that I should put that as a variable expense because it does vary quite a lot, and it does vary based on whether you leave your AC unit on when you leave your apartment. In July, we did do that. We did leave our AC units on when we left the apartment, and that is a mistake that we will not do again. So yeah, we're over $113 this month on utilities, but that's fine because this is where the buffer comes in. Spotify, I was not charged yet. My phone, I paid in advance because they sent me the bill, so I was like, might as well pay it so that way the money's out of sight. But usually we'll get charged on the 18th. Amazon Prime, Apple Bill, Netflix, and Hulu. I haven't gotten charged for those yet. And then I paid my Natural Cycles subscription, which came out to $15 as it does every month. And I have not spent anything else on health so far this month. On Ziggy's food so far, I only spent $35. I ended up being able to buy a lot of food, and the butcher randomly didn't charge me that much. I feel like sometimes he gives me discounts that are like non-spoken discounts. I don't know. It's kind of like an old school butcher in Williamsburg that I go to, and I feel like his prices are not very fixed. So sometimes I get lucky and, he makes me pay significantly less than what I feel I should pay. Anyway, now let's address my shopping budget. And the main reason why I am already almost over my monthly budget mid-August. So we have been redecorating the apartment because my boyfriend recently moved into this apartment, and we recently got the second room after one of my other roommates left. We ended up wanting to make things a little bit new and a little bit fresh and furnishing that home office. So we did spend a lot of money on like new furniture. That is why my budget is way over on shopping this month. And I also ended up buying a new camera, which was not very reasonable, but I feel like I could do it because I've been good. I've been good with money, and this is me being realistic with you. Sometimes just want to splurge on something, and I know I have that buffer, and I just started this YouTube channel and I wanted a nice camera, so I got the Osmo Pocket 3, which is $700, but I am paying it in 4 without interest, so that will come every 2 weeks for the next 4 months, so that will go into my shopping budget. For Target, we went to Target for the month and I spent $96.17, and then eating out and drinks, I haven't been eating out that much or going out to drink that much. We went out last Saturday and got a few drinks, and I think we ordered some food a couple of nights so far this month. This is how fast those bills rack up. It's already $138. So, we have $61 left for this. And then finally, groceries. I've only spent $135 so far and 20 cents, which is again pretty expected, where I'm halfway through that budget, which makes sense. In terms of Subway, also halfway through my budget, so we're doing good so far here. And then Ubers, Lyfts, Rebels, we are way over this month. I ended up on random occasions having to take Ubers or Lyfts, and that ended up being pretty expensive. Don't really have an excuse for that. Again, that's why I have that buffer, but this month it's not been that great so far. But we're keeping it positive. We will still hit the $2,000 savings goals, so that's what matters the most. In terms of coffee, again, pretty much halfway through my budget so far, $66.97. And then in terms of miscellaneous, I did not include anything in there so far this month. That brings us to a grand total of $2,808.73 so far this month, which does not leave me with a lot for the rest of the month. But like I said, once I hit that $2,000 savings goal, sorry, I don't know if you can hear my neighbor's dog barking like crazy. Welcome to New York City. I know, I can't do anything about it. So crazy. This is where my buffer comes into place. I can overspend a little bit on some months and just be better on other months. Definitely will be overspending this month, but I'm gonna try to keep it to a minimum. One reason why I really encourage you to do a mid-month check-in, just so you can see how you're doing and, you know, adjust from there. So this is what I'm doing, and I'm glad that I'm doing this because I'm gonna be very frugal for the rest of the month. That is everything for today's video. I hope that this video was helpful to you, and I will be doing those monthly check-ins, usually more towards the end of the month than the middle of the month. Again, I thank you so much for watching, and if you want to see more of these videos, don't forget to subscribe and like the video if you enjoyed it. And I'll see you next week for another video.